Hi, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us today. We got a brand new story to share, so let's dive right in. My name is Richard, and for the longest time I believed I was a good husband. I've always been the type of person who gives others the benefit of the doubt, avoids drama, doesn't snoop through my wife's phone, and tries not to sweat the small stuff. I thought that's what being a good husband meant, being understanding and patient. But looking back now, I realize I may have been too forgiving. You see, my wife Vanessa has a tendency to push boundaries, testing how far she can go before I react. Sometimes it's minor things like overspending on things we don't need, or coming home later than she said she would. Other times, though, it feels like she's deliberately seeing how much I'll tolerate before I stand up for myself. And then there's Jake. I've known for years that Jake isn't just a friend. He's her ex. I don't care how much time has passed. Men like him don't stick around without a reason. They bide their time, pretending to be the nice guy, waiting for the right moment to make their move. I brought this up with Vanessa multiple times, telling her straight out that I don't trust Jake, but every time she dismisses it, saying I'm being dramatic or jealous for no reason. He's just a friend, she'd say. You're overthinking it. He's like a brother to me. I wanted to believe her, so I let it go over and over again. I told myself I was overreacting, that I was just being insecure. But trust has its limits, and Vanessa was about to discover where mine ended. One evening, Vanessa and I were sitting in the living room after dinner, unwinding like we always do. She was scrolling through her phone, casually chatting about her day, when she mentioned a weekend trip. Her old friends were planning to get away to a beach house in the Bahamas, a chance to relax, catch up, and relive some college memories. On the surface, it sounded harmless. I had no issue with her spending time with her friends. We've always respected each other's independence, and I've never been controlling type. But then she dropped Jake's name. The moment she said he was going, my stomach tightened. I knew this wasn't as innocent as she was making it seem. Her tone, the way she looked at me, it felt like a test. She wasn't just telling me about the trip. She was waiting to see how I'd react, whether I'd object or tell her not to go. And that's exactly what she wanted. For years I'd warned her about Jake. I'm not an overly jealous person, but I know what I see. Jake isn't some harmless friend. He's a man waiting for an opportunity. And I wasn't going to pretend otherwise. But this time, I didn't react the way Vanessa expected. I didn't argue. I didn't remind her why Jake was a problem. I didn't bring up all the times I'd let things slide in the past. I simply looked at her and said, "If you go, don't bother coming back." She blinked, caught off guard, and then laughed, shaking her head. She acted like I was being ridiculous. "God, Richard, you're so dramatic," she said, rolling her eyes. Then came the usual excuses. "You're overreacting. Jake's just a friend. You really need to stop being so insecure." I didn't fight back or argue. I just looked at her, my voice calm, and said, "Do what you want." And I meant it. She thought I was bluffing, just like she always did. She had no idea that this time I was dead serious. The morning of her trip, Vanessa moved around the house like nothing had changed. She hummed to herself as she packed, carefully folding her clothes and deciding which outfits to bring. She took her time, pausing occasionally to check her phone, probably responding to the group chat about the trip. Every now and then, she glanced at me, expecting me to say something, to remind her what I'd told her. But I didn't. I just watched. When she was done, she wheeled her suitcase to the front door and walked over to me, leaning down to give me a quick kiss on the cheek, just like she always did before leaving for a trip. "Love you," she said, her tone light, almost dismissive, as if my warning 2 days earlier had never happened. Then, without a second thought, she grabbed her keys and walked out the door. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. I watched from the window as she tossed her suitcase into the trunk of a taxi, slid into the passenger seat, and drove off. The moment the taxi turned the corner and disappeared, I got to work. First, I changed the locks. I'd already made arrangements with the locksmith the day before, and within an hour the house was secure. Next, I started packing her belongings, her clothes, shoes, makeup, and all the little things she'd scattered around the house. Everything that belonged to her was neatly packed into boxes, ready to be delivered to her parents' house. I didn't want her to have any excuse to come back, not even to pick up a forgotten sweater. Finally, there were the divorce papers. I called my lawyer that morning and told him to prepare the documents. There was no hesitation, no second guessing. This wasn't an empty threat. I had warned her, and she chose to ignore me. Vanessa had convinced herself that nothing would change when she returned. She thought she could go on this trip, laugh with her friends, spend time with Jake, and come home like everything was normal. She thought she had me figured out, that I'd grumble about it for a few days, maybe give her the silent treatment, and then eventually let it go. But this time was different. I wasn't going to be the man who let his wife walk all over him. I wasn't going to be the husband who got disrespected and then welcomed her back like nothing had happened. This time I meant every word. I had drawn a line, and she had crossed it. Now she was about to discover exactly what that meant. When I left for work the morning she returned, I hadn't given Vanessa much thought. As far as I was concerned, she was part of my past. The decision had been made, the preparations carried out, and I was ready to move on. I assumed she was still at the beach house enjoying her trip, completely unaware of what awaited her when she came back. But then on the fourth day, 3 days earlier than planned, she showed up. I wouldn't have even known if it weren't for the camera I had installed outside. An alert popped up on my phone during lunch, and out of curiosity, I checked the live feed. There she was, standing on the porch, bags at her feet, her hand gripping the doorknob. She tried turning it, but the door didn't budge. She tried again and again, her frustration growing. I watched as she stepped back, her eyebrows furrowed in confusion. She leaned in closer, inspecting the lock, and that's when it hit her. The lock had been changed. Vanessa fumbled for her phone, and within seconds mine started ringing. I let it ring a few times before answering. "Richard," she breathed, her voice already shaking. "The door won't open." "You don't live there anymore," I said, my tone calm and detached. "Your things are at your parents' house. Expect the divorce papers in a week or two." There was a long silence. I could hear her breathing, shaky and uneven, as if she was struggling to process what I had just said. Then her voice returned, desperate this time. "Richard, please wait, let me just—" I ended the call before she could finish. A few seconds later, my phone started buzzing again. She called once, then again and again. Her name kept flashing across the screen, but I ignored every single one. After the sixth attempt, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I wasn't interested in whatever story she was about to spin. Then the messages started pouring in. "Richard, please talk to me. I messed up. I'm so sorry. It's not what it looks like." I sat there staring at my phone, watching the notifications pile up. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even sad. I just felt nothing. This was the same woman who had laughed in my face when I warned her not to go, the same woman who had kissed me goodbye so sure that I wouldn't do a damn thing about it. And now she was begging me to listen. A new message popped up. "Please pick up. There's something important I need to tell you." I still didn't move. I checked the camera again. Vanessa was pacing on the porch now, her face red, her hands shaking. She looked frantic, running her fingers through her hair, probably wondering how things had spiraled so out of control. She was crying, yelling at the door, begging me to pick up. Then, after a long pause, she stopped texting and sent a voice note instead. I hesitated before playing it, but eventually I hit play. Her voice was a wreck, shaky, full of sobs, like she had completely lost control of herself. She wasn't just upset, she was terrified. "Richard, please listen to me. You were right about Jake. I should have listened to you. I swear I never expected any of this to happen. I drank too much, and when I woke up," she sobbed, gasping for air, "Jake did something. He recorded it. He's blackmailing me. I'm telling you now because I don't want you to find out from someone else. Please, Richard, I don't know what to do. I need you. I swear I didn't mean for this to happen." She was desperate, begging, hoping that because she'd been found out, I would step in and save her, that I would take her back and clean up the mess she had created. I listened to the entire thing, sitting in complete silence. Then I typed out one last message. The final thing I would ever say to her. Enjoy your life, Vanessa. You made your choice. Now live with it. And with that, I blocked her. I never looked back. Not once did I check in on her, ask how she was doing, or wonder if she was okay. I had spent enough time giving her the benefit of the doubt, only for her to throw it back in my face. She made her choice, and now she had to live with it. From what I heard, it didn't take long for her life to start falling apart. Her parents weren't happy with her. They didn't know all the details, but they knew enough. They knew she had walked out on a good marriage, that she had gone on that trip despite my warning, and that when she returned, her home was no longer hers. Her mother tried to be supportive, but her father, he was furious. He had always liked me, respected me, and saw me as a steady man who took care of his daughter. Now, he had taken that same daughter, because she had nowhere else to go. Her friends weren't much better. A few of them tried to reach out, sending me messages and making weak attempts at justify what had happened. Richard, she's really sorry. You don't have to throw everything away over one mistake. At least hear her out. I ignored every single one of them. I didn't care what they had to say. They weren't the ones who had to live with her choices. I had made it clear that I was done. Then there was Jake, the man she had risked everything for. The moment he realized there was trouble in paradise, he vanished. I'm sure he thought he was untouchable. But when Vanessa started talking about how he had recorded her without consent, that changed everything. He knew damn well he could get arrested for blackmail, and just like that, he disappeared. The guy she threw her marriage away for wouldn't even answer her calls. So there she was, alone, humiliated and full of regret. Meanwhile, I moved on. I focused on myself, my job, and my future. I refused to waste a single second wondering if she missed me or if she realized how badly she had messed up. But deep down, I already knew. From the unending messages she kept sending, I could tell. Some mistakes can't be undone. Some choices have consequences you can't escape from. She thought I was bluffing. She thought I was just making an empty threat. She was wrong. And that, folks, is the story of how my wife learned that when you push someone too far, sometimes they never let you back in. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you have done the same?